Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. It is so good to see everyone here. There we go. Now I can invite people. I just jumped on her because I wanted to allow people to take their time to get in here. You're jumping in. How are you doing today? Let me know how things are going. I'm just inviting some people who said they wanted to be here. So what's going on in your world? How's your Monday going? What's happening? What else is... Ooh, I'm spelling that wrong. Okay, I don't want to keep going because I'm afraid people will jump off. But if you are here, please say hello. I would love to see you. We're getting started today with Business Demystified, the TV show. The show is starting today. And we're talking about ideal client. Hello, if you're here. If you have any ideal client questions, please in the box. I would love to hear from you, please. I want to hear what you're up to. Hello, good to see you. That's weird. Oh, there she is. Hi. Who's here? Say hello. I'm glad you are. Okay, guys. I'm a little bit less. Can you see my shirt? Follow the yes. I got this shirt at Wisdom 2.0, and I thought it was important today because that's how I feel about ideal client. Okay, and we're going to talk about ideal client clarity today. So, what does that mean? Why does it matter? What is important about ideal client? What do you need to know? Why do you need to choose an ideal client? Some people can get really frustrated with that question. So let's start with what an ideal client is and what a niche is, because those are two different things, okay? An ideal client is the person that you want to serve. That's your ideal client. If you're just jumping on, say hello. Tell me if you have any questions about ideal client or how you feel about your ideal client. Do you feel clear about your ideal client? But please do ask any questions you have about ideal client. If you ever felt frustrated about it, I have. Not now, but certainly at the beginning of my business. If you're just jumping on, say hello. Please let me know you're here. And if you have any questions about ideal client specifically that you want me to answer, because I'm happy to, that's why we're here. I want my ideal clients to be gentle. Well, you can do that. I'll show you how in a minute. So let's talk about ideal client. What is it? What does it mean? The ideal client is the person you want to serve, the person out in the world you are inspired to serve. What is a niche? A niche is a different thing. The niche is an ideal client plus their problems. So what problems do you want to be helping this person with? That's your niche. The ideal client plus their problems. The ideal client is just the person. Just a person. Person you want to serve. Okay? Why do you need to choose an ideal client? Why do we have to do that? It's so frustrating. Why can't I just serve everyone? My thing serves everyone. Two reasons. One, there is no general help department in the world. Hey, good to see you. Say hello. There's no general help department in the world. You can't just go somewhere and be like, hey, I need help. People look for very specific solutions to very specific problems. I talk about this all the time. You don't go to a foot doctor if you have a broken finger. You don't go to a brain doctor if you have an infected toenail. We are more sophisticated now than we used to be. Maybe it's social media, maybe it's the internet, Maybe it's our awakening consciousness. Who knows what it is? But people don't look for help generally. When's the last what is the last thing you looked online for help with? What was that? What was the last thing you researched for help with? Why don't you comment and let me know what it is? I always say follow the yes. I got this at Wisdom 2.0. Isn't that amazing? We're going to talk about following the yes for your ideal clients too. What's the last thing you looked for help on? Maybe you were looking for copywriting help. Maybe you were looking for business coaching help. Maybe you were looking for dinner. But you didn't go to the general help department. Business funding. Hello. Very specific. Did you go to Toys R Us? Oh no, did you go to Amazon.com for your business funding information? No. You sought out business funding on the internet. People look for hello, say hello. If you know who your ideal client is, by the way, type that in the box below. Who is your ideal client? Who is that? Everyone share. So like I was saying, you have to choose an ideal client and their problems because no one goes to the general help department. People who have a problem know they have a problem. Most people who have a relationship problem don't go to a business coach. They look for a relationship coach. What kind? Well, what kind of problem are they having? It gets really specific. Right, small business, right? She went to the specific solution for her specific question. So if you say to the world, I help everyone, well, that's great, but that's just not how people buy. It just isn't. So we have to adapt our business thinking to the way the market already works. People who are spiritually opening up, hello, awesome. That is a great one. Okay, now, an ideal client, or I should say a niche, is the ideal client plus all of their problems. You don't just help a person. You help a person through a specific transformation. Not everyone's looking for that transformation, okay? I assume not everyone is spiritually opening up and looking for assistance, right? So there's a specific group of people you tend to help. Most people who are spiritually opening up are already intuitive, gentle, and receptive. So you're probably going to be in alignment with people already in that space just because you're specific enough about who you want to help. So congratulations. That's amazing. Okay. So your business isn't just your ideal client. Your business is not just, hello. Your business is not just your ideal client. Your business is solving your ideal client's problems. So now we've talked about why you have to have an ideal client. Oh, you're still attracting the wrong people. Okay, so then I would say that's in the messaging. Because you need to be specific about who you're calling in. Maybe you're talking to people who are more introverted. Maybe you're talking to people who are nervous. Hi. Good to see you. Hello, everyone. Who's your ideal client? Let's do a little ideal client share. Doesn't matter how comfortable you feel. Who's your ideal client? Let's, ooh, okay. Oh, Oisumi, that is so beautiful. Okay, so then I would be careful there about the languaging that you're using, okay? Because maybe my messaging is strong. Yes, okay? See, so as we get more specific about who we want to serve, then we can actually call those people in specifically, okay? So who's your ideal client? Everyone here, share who your ideal client is. Now, what I said before is your business is actually your ideal client plus all their problems. Your business is your niche. That's it. So we've already talked about why you need to choose an ideal client, okay? So now we're going to move on to what that means. All right. What does an ideal client mean? So like I said, an ideal client is just the person. The niche is the person plus their problems. So what are they frustrated with? What are they working through? The more specific you get, the more specific you can speak to their problems. If you say just generally, I help spiritual women, that's pretty open for a lot of interpretation, right? So the more specific you get about who, what kind of spiritual women, maybe you want to serve spiritual men. You know, men are just starting to wake up now and they need a lot of support. So really your business, like I said before, is your ideal client and their problems. And what you do is create things that continually help them move through those problems. Your offers are about that. Your messaging is about that. How you show up for them is about that. Even the voice you use. Like Oyasumi's going through this right now, right? She, in her messaging, has been very strong. And so she's calling in strong women. Not necessarily the kind of person that she wants to be working with, right? So everything affects everything in your business, right? So understanding your ideal client as specifically as you know how is super important. So what do you need to know? But I'm still healing that part when I get hit on by creepy guys. Okay, so it sounds like, Oyasumi, that there's some healing on both sides, right? Because there are some women that you're attracting that are more aggressive than you would like, and there are some men that are attracting that are creepy, right? So I would actually be looking at what you're doing that is attracting those sorts of things. I'm not saying it's your fault, but in the world of manifestation, the energy we put out in some way, whether we understand it or not, is creating things in our life. Okay. So, I would say I would look at both of those things. What is the messaging that's going on right now? Right. And if you want to shift the people that you're calling in, then reflect that in your messaging as well. Right. Again, why it's so important to understand your ideal client. Just went through this with a client that was not specific enough with his creations. His subconscious needed clarification of what he meant. Okay. Okay, that's great. And clarification is exactly right. That's exactly right. Okay. So, like I said, first of all, what do you really need to know? You know you need an ideal client. That's actually your business. Your ideal client plus their problems is your business. Okay? And we need to be constantly reiterating to people how everything we create is helping them get to their goal. Okay, and if you didn't hear, hello, good to see you. Hello, Rhea. So who's your ideal client? Share that in the box if you haven't done so already. Share who your ideal client is in the comment box below. And how comfortable do you feel with your ideal client? Do you feel like you are nailing it, like you're communicating and they're communicating back? Okay, so don't forget, who's your ideal client? If you just joined in, who's your ideal client? Who do you want to be serving in the world? Who do you want to be showing up for and impressing? Who do you want to be inspiring transformation for? Okay, like I said before, we need an ideal client. You have to have one because that's your business. People don't shop for help generally. They shop for very specific solutions to very specific problems. When people say they're a relationship and business coach, I'm like, you could say that. But people don't go to business coaches for love help. And people don't go to relationship coaches for business help. It's kind of like a trust thing. Okay? So you getting really specific, you getting really clear, and calling them in all the time. Okay? I talk about the fact that I help heart-centered coaches, healers, and wellness professionals to get to out of feast and famine and into regular income, up to $100,000. Okay? That's usually like my area. I can serve so many people that I need to write down. Yes. Okay. So, perfect question, Terry. Perfect. I love it. So, if you are feeling confused about which ideal client, like, ooh, I have a couple. All right. I have a couple things for you. One, in 90% of all ideal clients, of all businesses, not everyone, but about 90%, is someone you have been. But what if you are multi-talented anyway? That's okay. You put all of those talents in to solve the problems of one type of person. Okay, we put all those talents together. Your packages will be so diverse and beautiful. Okay, so I assume that is actually an even better way to go in. If you're multi-talented, great. Because I do coaching, I do some healing, I'm intuitive. Sometimes there's messages from source. So I feel you on that. Maybe you're a designer and a business coach. Maybe you're a copywriter and a designer. That's okay. Put all of those talents into the solutions of one kind of person. Okay, so what if you have more than one ideal client? Number one, usually it's someone you've been. Now, like I said, that's about 90% of businesses. Not all businesses serve people they've been. But if you are a coach or a healer, likely you got into this work because you faced something in your life you struggled with. And about 90% of you are going to choose that person. They say it's like 3 steps back. Sometimes it's 5 steps back, whatever. Okay? It's usually someone in your life you've been. So, who asked that question? It wasn't me, assuming it was Terry. So Terry, who in your life have you been that you would love to support? You know, when I first started my coaching practice, when I was actually in coaching school for 2 years, I thought that I was going to help women who'd been through the divorce to like heal and come back. And when I was in coaching school, that's what I thought I was going to do. But when I was in coaching school, you know, I have 20 years of advertising and business experience. So when I was in coaching school, I saw all of my coaching friends about to start practices having no idea what they were doing. They had no idea how to get clients. They had no idea what they were stepping into. And I knew that that was going to be my work. Because at the time, you know, there's like 1,000 people coming out of coaching schools every year, maybe even more now. So I could see where my work was needed. All right? So where do you see a need in the world? That is also a great place to get your ideal client. Where are you like, oh, I gotta help that person? So if it doesn't feel like someone you've been, who inspires the crap out of you? I chose coaches and healers because coaches and healers and wellness folks are the front lines of transformation in this world. Coaches and healers and wellness experts are changing this planet for love. I feel so called to help that group of people step forward and change our effing planet. So everyone I support, I'm so passionate about it because everyone I support is changing the world. Okay? So I feel extremely called to help that group. Who is your group? Now, if you have more than one and you're like equally on the fence, then just choose one and start. Just choose one and start. Because you will find out very quickly, one way or the other, whether it's the right person for you. You're going to know. Because you're going to start diving into their problems and doing some research, and you're going to go, oh no, I don't want to deal with that. Nope, don't want to do it. It's not my work. Okay? So I will tell you, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong because you'll know one way or the other very quickly. Not choosing puts you in sort of a spin for a long time. Okay? So Terry, I've been a landlord with more money going out than coming in. Okay, so do you want to be supporting women financially? What kind of work do you want to be doing, Terry? I didn't see that one there. I'm super happy to answer your question. Okay? So that may be who you've been, but there are other parts of you that you've been besides a landlord with more money going out than coming in. Okay, so if that is your ideal client, if that is landlords, what do you want to support them in doing? Landlords need a lot of support. All right, that's real. Okay, so who is your ideal client? If you've just jumped on, if you are new, if you just got here, who is your ideal client? Come put it in the box. Come share. So now you know what to do. Now you know why you need to choose one. Now you know, because it's the way people buy. It has nothing to do with you. It's just the way this world works. So people buy specifically. Now you know what to do. Now you know who to choose, right? Someone you feel super passionate about helping, because you're going to be talking about these problems all the time. So you better love it. That's number 2. And what do you want to help them do? All right, so we've talked about why and what that means. Now, let's talk about what you really need to know. What do you really need to know about this group so that you can really serve them powerfully? Because sometimes doesn't it just feel like you're like getting information? Why do I need to know the demographics? Why does that even matter? Why do I need to know their problems? I don't want to be mired in problems all the time. That's not fun. I'm wondering how specific we need to be with ideal client. I have the answer to that. Here's how specific you need to be. An ideal client, or a niche, I should say, is a group of people and their problems. So as soon as the problems change, the ideal client changes. You can keep adding different people into this ideal client group if they all share the same problems. So for you, Sue, if you, as a photographer, Sue's a photographer. So if you want to be serving both families and do pets and do, maybe headshots. Well, families and pets are kind of this very similar, okay? And you could probably do headshots because that's actually kind of similar too, like how to get a great photo. That sort of the problems of all of those people are very similar. So you could actually maybe put those people together in one big group. As long as they all share the same problem, the same sets of problems, as long as you could speak to those problems in the exact same way to all the people in that group, then they're all your ideal client. They're all in the same niche. But if that ever changes, for instance, you can't speak to someone who's in the corporate world about business as you speak to someone who's an entrepreneur about business. Those are 2 different things. They have 2 different desires in the world. They have 2 different wants. A lot of fitness coaches out there talk about weight loss. Well, there's all different kinds of views around weight loss. Maybe it's emotional eating. Maybe it's maybe you want to lose 5 pounds in 5 days. See how there's a big range of view. So those aren't the same ideal client, even though they both want to lose weight, because you can't speak to them about the same problems in the same way. Another example is that someone works with coaches, okay? There are brand spanking new coaches and there are 9-figure coaches. I'm making that up. But there are, Tony Robbins kind of like super corporate, I own my own business and I've been doing this for 40 years coaches. Those 2 people, even though they're both coaches, don't have the same problems. Even my own business, I talk to coaches, healers. Hold on here. I'm answering some questions. I'm just trying to scroll down. Hold just a second. Uh-oh. Did it freeze up? No. I'm changing personally. I see my ideal client changing, and that absolutely happens. That's who I've been. Financial struggle. I have also lost a lot of weight. I've not chosen a niche yet. Okay, Terry, great. So does one of those seem more exciting for you? And I don't mean money-wise, which might be exciting, but to talk about their problems over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, which one of those seems more exciting? People with financial struggle, you also have to be careful there because you have to have people that can afford your services. All right, so you also don't want to choose people who can't afford you. When I first started my coaching practice, I worked with artists. And I love artists. They are wonderful. They really are some of my favorite people in the world besides transformational people. But many of them don't have any money. I couldn't make a business out of it. People were excited about what I had to say, but I couldn't make a business out of it. Okay, hold on, I'm going to scroll back up. Yeah, so Terry, I feel you. If you, and again, it sounds like you're sort of between a couple of things. If, you know, it doesn't have to be either of those things either. You got to choose things that seem exciting for you to do again and again and again and again and again. Ideally, if this is a successful business, you'll be doing it for 20 years, right? So you really want to be passionate about it. My ideal client is strong women moms who are overwhelmed by life, which keeps them acting small, but dream of having more love, joy, and sanity. Great. Okay. I'm changing personally. I see my ideal client changing. Yes, that happens a lot. That's okay. As we transform and shift, that's okay. Your business is allowed to transform and shift with you. And really, what I think is happening for you, Carly, is that you're just getting more specific, which is exactly how that goes. I used to be like, I work with all entrepreneurs. No, I didn't. I worked with like so many different kinds, but as I got down and down and down and niche down and figured out who I really like, it's really service-based people. I don't just work with coaches and healers, photographers, copywriters, VAs, all of those people in that group, because they all share the same problems. So I can actually speak to them similarly. Okay. So the problem with families with kids and or family maybe getting great photos with their kids who are special needs won't smile. Okay, so that's your super niched in idea, but you don't necessarily need to go that far down. You definitely want to have people, is it better to target special needs and or special kinds of families or go broader? Okay, so what you can do in this kind of instance is a little bit, because you're a photographer and it's a little bit different for you than most people that are watching right now. You can actually do both. So you can say, I specialize in special needs and LGBTQIA. Spit that one out. LGBTQIA. You could say you specialize in those two things, but that you work with all kinds of families and their pets. And really, those people all have similar needs. Now, some of your content can be about, maybe once a week you're talking about a special needs situation, or how to deal with, if you're worried about not being seen as equal by any different photographers, then, certainly LGBTQIA people, and how you respect and honor that family in a different way than most photographers can or will or do, right? So I would say you pepper that in with the regular sets of problems. And I think that is even more inspirational for other families too, to know that those are communities that you're helping to serve as well. So for you specifically, I think you can actually do both, and not have to niche down, because essentially their problems are all the same too. All right. Any other my ideal clients are people who want healing and people who want multimedia designers. Those are two different groups of people, aren't they? My ideal clients are people who want healing. Sorry, maybe you serve multimedia designers. Oh no, people who want multimedia designers. Okay, so if those are the same group of people, then your whole job is to share why healing and multimedia design go together. But what I would say is that those sound like people who have two different sets of problems. People who want healing need to be healed. People who want design want design. You can have two businesses, but that's like growing 2 trees 1 foot instead of growing 1 tree 2 feet. So it just splits your time and energy. And the reason we have you pick an ideal client and really lean in is it because it takes so much time and energy to build a business anyway. So if you have staff and people supporting you and you have the time and energy to reach out to more than one group, yes, sister, yes, do it. I love it. If you are a solopreneur and you have very limited time, money, and energy like most of us, then I highly recommend leaning into one, succeeding at it, nailing it, make money at it, prove your model, and then add in business too. Which one do you lean into first? Whichever one you feel more passionate about. I know that's not always what people want to hear, but again, you can, with a set amount of time, money, and energy, you can grow, several things a short bit, or you can grow one thing a good bit. Okay? That's always my recommendation. I know it sucks, but if you're trying to get into regular income and finally get into that 100K space, get those 5-figure months, that's what it takes, is like leaning in and getting known for your thing. Like I said, people choose very specific solutions to very specific problems. When you have a problem, you go looking for the expert in that thing. Okay? And that's how people shop for you too. That's why we say you need an ideal client. Not because we're trying to torture you. You must have a business this way. No, it's not because of that. It's because we really understand how people buy, and they just don't. You only have so much energy in the world. Okay? So, ideal. Oh, okay. So, what else do you need to know? What do you need to know about this group? All right? You need to know first their demographics. Why do you need to know that? Well, you need to know their demographics because it shows you what else is happening in their life. For me, I work with a lot of moms who are somewhere in their 30s and 40s. That's not always who I serve. Sometimes I serve people a little younger. Sometimes I serve people a little older. But usually it's about 35 to maybe 50. They're moms, have a family. And so their business isn't it's priority 7 out of 40. So I need to understand that so that I can create things that make that more doable. I speak to being able to be productive when you have a million things going on at the same time. Okay? So the first thing you need to know are their demographics, because that helps you get even more specific. Many times in my work, the women I speak to, putting down money for a financial investment like this, they're not the only decision maker. So I know that many of my ideal clients need to go talk to their husband or their partner or their whoever. That's okay. I build that into the process. Right? So all the demographics that you know about your ideal client really help you to speak to them in a specific way, to show up for them because you understand what's happening in their life besides just what you're working on. If you are a spiritual healer and you're working with women and women start to transform, that is going to have an effect on everyone in their life. So helping to manage through that process, understanding that what's going on in their life besides your work is extremely powerful to be able to speak to your ideal client. Okay? That's why you need to know demographics. Not because you just need to know it and have it written down on a piece of paper, but because you need to know what's going on in their world besides your work. Number 2, what do you need to know about your ideal client? All their problems. All their problems as it relates to your work. Hello, good to see you. What I do is I make a list. I keep a running list. If you want to work one-on-one with people and you're not speaking to the people you want to be working with on a regular basis, either through research, discovery calls, coffee chats, whatever, if you're not speaking to your ideal clients on a regular basis, you better get on that phone and offer these things. I don't mean cold call in any way. I mean, offer these things out and about. Online or offline, doesn't matter. You can't build a business working one-on-one with people if you're not willing to get in conversations one-on-one with people. And I don't mean sell them stuff. I mean, really, find out what their problems are. Find out what's going on in their world. People love to talk about what's going on in their world. They want to tell you. It's just sometimes we get nervous. But really, talking to your people is your job until you're booked solid. And doing research, okay? So what are their problems? And I mean, what do they want? What's their final thing they want, ultimately? What are the big things they want, the medium-sized things they want, and the small things they want? And why don't they have them? Those are the problems. So getting clear on the problems. And I don't mean you're going to live in the land of problems forever. But you better realize, my friend, that people don't come looking for coaches and healers when their life is great. They come looking for us when they're stuck, frustrated, upset, at the end of their rope, about to leave a relationship, about to quit their own business, about to quit a job. Things aren't good. So you need to understand their problems and their level 8 problems, not their level 4 problems. Their level 8 problems. The level 8 problems are the problems that they are like 8 out of 10 or higher. Because if they're not this big, if there aren't this big of a problem, they're not going to hire anyone to help them. Because we humans, we're so adapting. We just think it's going to change. We just hope it's going to change. So we don't do anything to change it ourselves. And the problem keeps going. This level of problem is when people come looking for help. Not here. So you got to know the problems and be able to speak to them. All right. Now you have to know this. First, you have to know their demographics. Then you have to know their problems. Number 3, like I said, what do they ultimately want from you? I know my ideal clients are in the process of trying to make money. I typically work with people in those first 3 years. When they're getting their ideas started, putting the pieces together, and getting in the habits that are required to make a business run and be successful. Those are difficult times. But I ultimately know what they ultimately want from me is to get them out of this place where there's feast and famine, and sometimes they make money and sometimes they don't. Usually they make very little money. Into this completely different business, which is regular income. Serious money months. Maybe even busting into 100K. Okay? That's what they ultimately want. So you have to know what your people ultimately want. What do your ideal clients ultimately want in their lives? The real life result. Not like empowered and feeling excited about life and creating the life of your dreams. That's coach speak. That is not a real life result. A real life result is I want a better relationship. I want to be able to have a business that's successful. I want to have a better relationship with my kids so we're not screaming at each other all the time. I want to lose 40 pounds. Those are real life results. And even if you are a healer, even if you are a coach, even if your thing applies to everyone, the real life results are essential. So what do they want? Final thing to know about your ideal client is why they want what they want. What does it mean to them? What are they either running from or what are they running to? Why do they want this thing? Do they hope it will save their family? Do they hope it will save them from having to go back to a regular 9-to-5 job? Will it help them to awaken? All right. And so why do they want to heal, Raquel? I mean, I know that sounds like a silly question, but I'm actually asking that to you. Do they want to stop the pain? Do they want to stop feeling anxiety and stress? Do they want to, everyone wants to heal. Why do they want to heal? Do they want to have relationships because these two things stop them from that? Do they just want to feel normal? Whatever that means. I hate that word. Right? So, one, what are the demographics? Because you need to understand what's going on in their world besides your work and how your work fits into their life. 2, you have to understand their problems. What are the small things they struggle with? The medium-sized things they struggle with? What are the big things they struggle with? Right? Okay. Number 3, Why do they want this transformation in their world? Why is it so meaningful to them? What does it mean if they can transform this thing that you help them with? And what real life results are you making happen in their life? Like, what real life result do they really want? I want a better relationship. I want a better business. I want support in my business. What is that? Are the problems all related to your business? If you understand other problems they're facing, that will help you speak to them. So for you, Sue, if you're talking to people with special needs and you can sort of speak to what special needs issues are in their lives, that's great because it helps you to speak to that. But mostly we're talking about the problems that is related to your work. So if you're talking about special needs kids, it's why that feels so scary for them. Why a camera and the flash might not be great for kids on the spectrum. How to help kids feel more comfortable in front of a camera. How that kind of thing. So I would keep it related to your work. But as you're sharing your message, if you understand some of the other things they're dealing with, like why a kid on the spectrum would struggle with a flash of light in his face. You know what I'm saying? You could speak to that in your messaging, and you want to be able to. But really, it is the problems as it relates to your work. I know that a lot of my women are spiritual women that are starting businesses because I'm pretty woo-woo myself. So I attract those people, right? So I do speak to spirituality in my work. It isn't the lead because I know what people need from me. They need me to show them how to get into regular income in a way that feels in alignment, in a way that they actually really freaking want to do over and over and over and over again. Okay? So I know that that's what people ultimately want from me, but I do bring in that spirituality stuff. Everyone wants to thrive. Yes, but everyone's thriving looks different. That's why selling happiness is very difficult. Because everyone's version of happy looks different. So happiness with what? I usually say, if you're talking about, I've had a couple clients who have focused on happiness. And so I usually say about what? Happiness in relationship? Happiness, when someone has a happiness problem, it means there's something they're sad about. So what are they actually sad about? Is it a career thing that's the issue? Is it a relationship thing that's the issue? Is it their business? So thriving and happy are very coach speak words because everyone's is different. And there's something way more specific underneath of that. Thriving in health is different than thriving in your business. And people will go to two different people for that. Okay? So, gotcha. I talk about lifestyle, allowed special needs to be themselves, even sitting off to the side or not smiling. Right! It's exactly right, Sue. Nice work. Okay, guys, that's my ideal client part. That's the meat of it. I went for about 42 minutes. I'm just saying. That is pretty good. So, any other questions for your business specifically? I'm happy to help. Questions around ideal client. Why do I have to pick one? How do I choose between these two people? If you're stuck between several people, first choose with your heart. Ooh, I would love to work with this group. But an ideal client, you want to have a group of at least 10,000 people out in the world. Okay? So if it's a really, really tiny group, I don't know. If the disease is so specific that the group is so small, it makes it difficult to have a business out of it. And we're talking about ideal clients and creating a business from it. There are lots of people you can serve for free. We're talking about what you need to know so you can create a lasting and strong business on a strong foundation that will continue to grow, okay? That will create this foundation of brick instead of a foundation of sand. And not getting clear on your ideal client, what their problems are, and how you want to help them move through that is sandy. But if you understand these three things, all the little pigs will show up at your door, because then they can say yes. Otherwise, it gets too general. I'll help you create whatever you want in the world. Well, that people don't know how to identify with that. We have to link up with the things that the people that we love are already looking for. Creating the brand new wheel from scratch. I have a brand new business idea no one's ever thought of before. Well, that's good. But now you're going into an unproven market. When you see competition out there, if there's an ideal client you really want to serve and there's a whole bunch of people serving that market, that's the good thing, not the bad thing, okay? It's a lot of people out there doing this because then it's a proven market. And all you have to do is figure out how your thing is a little bit different than everyone else's. Okay, so you want to find a group of people who's big and already being served in a specific way, which is a little counterintuitive, but it is in fact true. Okay, any other questions about ideal client? Why this is so important? Why this is a foundation of your business? Are you frustrated? Who's feeling like they got something out of this? What was your takeaway today as we start to wrap up? What was the thing you got out of this that you're like, oh, I'm so glad you said that because I did not know that thing? What is that for you? Give me a what? Share with me what was the thing you learned today that you didn't understand before about ideal client. What are you going to take away from this call? Because it's all about integration. So, hey, sweets, it's so good to see you. So what was your takeaway from today's call? Love you too. What did you learn about ideal client that you didn't expect to know, didn't know before, kind of was frustrated with before, still think it's dumb? If you still have a frustration with ideal client, I get it. It can be frustrating. Hey, Brett's here. Haha, good to see you. Any other questions about ideal client? Ideal business, the meaning of it exactly. Do you mean ideal client or ideal business? I never thought about, Rhea, is that a question or that was your takeaway? What ideal client really means? Oh, I think that was your takeaway. If that is a question, just rephrase that for me so I understand what you mean. I never thought about photography solving a problem before. Oh, yes, it does. There is so much fear around being photographed. And people need photographs for so many things. Nobody wants to step in front of a camera. Need to know the demographic of the niche. Yes. Terry, choose with your heart. Please choose with your heart. Choose who you're more excited about loving on. Because that's what your business is going to do, basically. Yes, the using of coach words. Oh, coach speak will tank all of your visibility. If you step into coach speak and start talking about thriving under any situation and empowerment, first of all, don't get me wrong. I love coachy words. I love them. I love coaching. I could coach anyone about anything at any time. I get it. But those coach words make people go, what in the hell is that woman talking about? Now, we know what getting rid of limiting beliefs is. We know what breaking through old patterns does. And I love that shit. Excuse my French. I love it. However, the regular everyday people that we serve, they don't have any idea what we mean, and it doesn't mean anything to them. So those coach speak words really get in the way. So if you find yourself talking about limiting beliefs and breaking through patterns and energy, well, you can talk about energy, but I mean what that work does, nobody cares. They care about the results you're going to bring them. I don't talk about all the things we do in coaching. I talk about the results I get people. Okay? So remember, no one wants to hear about how. They want to hear about the results, the what, the end. I call it the real life result. What is the real life result you're bringing to someone's world? Not the coachy one, but the real life result. What are they going to see? How's that going to show up in their world? Client, forgive me, no. No, it's a phrase. Oh, okay, gotcha. Still struggling with what problem I solve. Oh, Linda, that is a great question. You absolutely solve a problem because my belief is that you're helping people step into their spirituality and creativity even farther, which is amazing. Okay? Oh, by the way, I don't normally get so follow the yes. I just want to remember I was at Wisdom 2.0 before you step off. And I don't usually dress so informally, but follow the yes even with your ideal client. Okay? Who is it that makes you go, oh, yes, I would love to work with that group of people? That will always be your ideal client. I promise. Still struggling with what problem I solve. Okay, so Linda, what problems does your work help people work through? You know, a lot of the problems that people are struggling with around your work is probably somewhere in their spirituality and their creativity, especially with those readings that you do. Those solve all kinds of problems. And you can even be specific about the kinds of problems you want that modality to work with. All right. And your creativity things and the events that you're talking about potentially doing, those solve a problem too. Because people feel disconnected from their creativity. They feel disconnected from themselves. And your work can really help to move that forward. Creatively, emotionally, spiritually, don't downplay your work. It is powerful stuff. Even if you are selling a painting that is solving a problem. Because I want to bring a different energy in my room. I want something to hang on my wall. I want it to be beautiful. I want it to be infused with spirit. You know, that's all solving problems. Don't downplay that. Very, very important. Essential, Linda. Very essential. Ideal client, the meaning of it exactly. Okay, yes. So hopefully you understand ideal client a little bit better and what it means. The ideal client is the person you want to serve in the world. The niche is that person plus the problems you want to be involved helping them transform through. Okay? All right, guys, this is a good one. Now, I have to get on a client call here in about 9 minutes. But any other questions? What are any other big takeaways that you are excited about bringing into your business? Hold on, let me scroll down here. You're very welcome. I'm super happy to help. Any other questions, comments, concerns in any way about ideal client, who it is, or what to do with it? Any other questions? I'm super happy to help. We'll just hang on a minute for anyone else. If we're just going to be doing Q&A here at the end, so I would love for you to hang out and stay until the end. But if you feel like you're all complete, that's awesome too. I'm going to leave this up in the group, and I think I tagged everybody that said they wanted to be here. So that's all covered. This is, like I said before, guys, this is a business foundation. This is, every business plan has an ideal client, a target market. That target market is made up of the people in it and the problems you help them solve. Oh, I love every possible version of what just came through. Thank you for all those emojis. That was amazing. This is a business foundation. Once this is nailed, you can move forward. But until this is nailed, there's no way you're getting to your income goal. There just isn't. Because everything you create in your business comes from this, from knowing this specifically. Like I said in the beginning, every offer you make, the messaging you have, the way you communicate it, how you support people, what you create will all be an immediate result of who you serve. Okay? And remember, people look for very specific solutions to very specific problems. So if you're frustrated about this, get out and talk to people. Do some research. Get in Facebook groups or on YouTube or Insta or wherever you want to be. YouTube if it's more corporate. Wherever your people are. Not where you want to be. Where are your ideal clients hanging out? Go there. Maybe you want to be offline. That's fine too. Find some meetups in your area. Go to a chamber of commerce. There's all kinds of people there. All right? Talking to people is the way into this business. I know it can feel scary, guys, but there are a bunch of ways to get in front of your ideal clients and do research that is not salesy. okay? I teach it to my clients all the time, all right? So if you're still feeling really frustrated about ideal client, please reach out. I'd be more than happy to do a consultation with you about ideal client and what that means for your business. Because I love you guys and I don't want you to be confused. So if you feel like you would like some additional support in understanding ideal client and how we can bring it into your business, then just reach out. Comment here. Yes, Misty, I want one of those. Make sure you tag me so I can see you. All right. And that's it. Okay, this is something that needs to be nailed. When they say nail your niche, that's why it's so important. It's one of your business foundations. All right, and I know that can be scary, but just know this about ideal client. You'll target, ideal client is who you're spending time, money, and energy pursuing. It's not the only client you'll take. You can take whoever comes your way. I've worked with all kinds of people on all kinds of things. You get to decide that. Ideal client is just the person you spend time, money, and energy pursuing. Other people will find out about you. They'll see it. They'll be like, "Ooh, that could work for me too." They'll come your way. Happens to me all the time. This is just about who you're focusing your limited resources on. That's it, guys. Okay? Please feel free, if you're watching this on the replay, ask your questions. Make sure you tag me so I can see, okay? And I'm super happy to help. There's no reason to be confused about ideal client, even though I know it can sometimes seem scary or frustrating, all right? You can do this, and your people need you, okay? So just making a getting started choice and starting down that road automatically puts you into a faster decision. Guarantee it, okay? I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here with me. I'll see you guys on the flip side.